Children. Children are the future. Little bundles of potential, all innocence with a burning curiosity. Parent or not, nothing quite stirs you to action than the cries of a youngster in distress. Your protective instincts kick into gear, and you rush headlong to intervene. But what if instead of being met by the grateful gaze of a scared child, you're instead confronted with the coal black stare of something else entirely? Well, as improbable as that scenario may seem, the good folk of Cannock know well to be wary in such circumstances, for the black-eyed children are at large in that most haunted of places. Black-eyed children have kind of become an A-list spook in recent years, their popularity growing with the spread of social media. One of the first recorded cases were posted on a message board in 1996 by Texas reporter Brian Bethel. They have been a permanent folkloric fixture ever since. Accounts of them vary. However, there always seems to be a number of similarities to each encounter. They always have pitch black eyes and always seem to exude an aura of abject dread. Typically, the black-eyed child, or children, affect a facade of desperation in an attempt to gain entry to your property, be it your car or your home. Most folk cotton onto these entities' malign nature and don't give in to their requests. To my knowledge, there are no stories relating what happens when you do though, which in itself is somewhat ominous. Now, tales of black-eyed children on the chase go back to the 1980s, but in recent years, sightings of them have increased in frequency. On the 13th of September 2014, a married couple resident to Cannock were out walking their dog near Stile Cop. They had not long entered the dense woodland when they heard a giggling noise. Then, as if out of nowhere, a small girl appeared on the trail not far in front of them. Wondering what such a young child were doing out in the woods unsupervised, they began walking towards the seemingly lost youngster. As they got closer, they noticed something weren't quite right. The girl were exceedingly pale, her head tilted to one side, but most disturbing were her eyes. Two coal-black orbs. She stood there staring at him for what seemed like an age. Then with an eerie chuckle she turned and disappeared into the woods. The wife made to follow, but her husband, sensing there was something not quite right, suggested they leave sharpish. Since then there have been many more sightings. You might have seen the footage captured by a drone on YouTube that shows what appears to be a black-eyed girl lurking in the woods. But the question remains, who are the black-eyed children? And what do they want? Well, there are a number of theories, ranging from aliens to fairies. Some have even hypothesized that these supernatural children are the spectres of sacrificial victims, sacred offerings to the pagan gods of the Cornovi, a Celtic tribe that occupied the area prior to the Roman conquest. However, you don't have to go back as far as the Iron Age to uncover acts of human cruelty on the chase. On the 12th of January 1966, the bodies of Margaret Reynolds, aged 6, and Diane Joy Tift, aged 5, were found in a ditch at Mainstay Gully on the chase. Despite an extensive investigation, the authorities came up short. Then on the 22nd of August 1967, the body of 7-year-old Christine Darby were discovered barely a mile away from where Margaret and Diana had been found the previous year. This sparked one of the biggest manhunts in British history, in what would become known as the A34 murders, larger even than the infamous Moors murder case that had happened 2 years prior. On the 4th of November 1968, there were finally a breakthrough. 10-year-old Margaret Alton escaped from a man who had tried to force her into the back of his green Ford Corsair. The incident was witnessed by an 18-year-old girl who took a mental note of the car's registration plate. The police were quickly informed, and the vehicle traced to a Mr. Raymond Leslie Morris of Green Lane, Walsall. Now, during the course of the investigation, Morris had been a key person of interest. Over the 4 years, he'd been interviewed no less than 4 times as a potential suspect. However, due to the lack of evidence and a false alibi provided by his wife Carol, he got off scot-free. Not this time though. While searching Morris's flat, the police uncovered indecent photographs of his wife's 5-year-old niece, indicating a rather disturbing predilection towards children. It would be Morris's wife Carol who would become the chief witness for the prosecution, retracting all her original statements. Apparently, when Raymond Morris were charged, he exclaimed, "Oh God, was it the wife?" Yes, it was, Raymond. Yes, it was. His trial took place at Stafford Crown Court on the 18th of February 1969. Raymond Morris were found guilty of the murder of Christine Darby and sentenced to life imprisonment. Due to lack of sufficient evidence, he would not be charged for the deaths of Reynolds and Tift. Could it be that this injustice caused the girl's spirits to linger, forever bound to the chase until some final justice is served? Whatever secrets Morris kept, he took them to his grave. He died on the 11th of March, 2014. Just goes to show, not all monsters dwell in the woods. Right, our special £1 a pint, jukebox and pool table free till closing. Have a good 'un. I'll be seeing you.